The most dangerous moment in your trading career isn't when you are losing money. It is the exact second you get bored of making it. Here is the uncomfortable truth about why your brain is wired to destroy your edge the moment it finally starts working. There is a peculiar madness that overtakes the speculator just as he begins to understand the game. It is not the madness of the panic, where fear drives men to sell at the bottom. It is not the madness of the mania, where greed forces them to buy at the top. It is a quiet, insidious madness. It is the madness of the calm. I have seen many men come into Wall Street with nothing. Through hard study and the scars of experience, they build a system. They learn to read the tape. They learn to decipher the silence of the market. They begin to win. The account grows. The devastating losses stop. And then, precisely when the road ahead seems clear, they drive themselves off a cliff. Why does this happen? It happens because the human animal is not designed for the discipline of speculation. The human animal is designed for the thrill of the hunt. And when the hunt becomes routine, when the kill becomes guaranteed and methodical, the thrill vanishes. You believe you are trading to make money. That is the lie you tell yourself. If you look deep into your own nature, you will find that a part of you is trading to feel alive. You are trading for the dopamine, for the rush of the gamble, for the validation of your own cleverness. When you finally develop an edge, the market ceases to be a casino. It becomes a business. And like any well-run business, it becomes repetitive. It becomes predictable. It becomes boring. This is the boredom trap. It is the filter that separates the wealthy operator from the eternal amateur. Consider the journey you have taken. In the beginning, your trading was chaos. You bought because you heard a tip. You sold because you felt fear. Your heart raced with every tick of the tape. You were losing money, but you were engaged. You were fighting a war. Every day was a drama of survival. Your brain was flooded with chemicals. Highs and lows, hope and despair. You were addicted to the noise. Then you began to learn. You studied price action. You managed your risk. You stopped gambling and started operating. Now you sit in front of your screens, you have a plan. You know exactly what your setup looks like. You know exactly when to enter and when to exit. And you wait. You wait for an hour. You wait for a day. The market moves. But it does not present your setup. Nothing is happening. The silence in the room grows loud. The silence in your mind becomes unbearable. Your brain is going through withdrawal. It is starving for that chemical hit it used to get from the chaos. It whispers to you. It tells you that you are wasting time. It tells you that a trader must trade. It tells you that if you are not clicking buttons, you are not working. So you invent a trade. You see a pattern that isn't really there. You justify an entry that violates your rules. You tell yourself, I will just take a small position just to stay in the tune of the market. In that moment, you have ceased to be a speculator. You have become a gambler again. You have surrendered your edge for a moment of entertainment. I have made this mistake more times than I care to count. There is a time to go long. There's a time to go short. And there is a time to go fishing. The tragedy is that most men would rather lose their money in the market than be bored out of it. You must understand that the market does not beat you. You beat yourself. You beat yourself because you cannot sit still. The amateur believes that money is made by trading. The master knows that big money is made by sitting. It is made by waiting for the line of least resistance to reveal itself, and then sitting tight until the movement has run its course. But sitting is hard. Sitting requires a suppression of the ego. The ego wants to be the hero. The ego wants to outsmart the market every single minute. When you are sitting on your hands waiting for your setup, your ego feels useless. It feels invisible. This is why you feel the urge to sabotage your own success. Deep down, you do not feel you deserve the money if it comes easily. If it comes without a fight, without the drama, without the stress, it feels unearned. You have been conditioned to believe that work must be hard, that progress must be a struggle. So when trading becomes easy, when it becomes a matter of simple execution, your subconscious mind rebels. It creates problems where there are none just to give you something to solve. It creates losses just to give you a hole to dig yourself out of. This is the psychological barrier you must cross. You must reframe your understanding of what trading is. Trading is not a game of action. It is a game of patience. It is a game of stalking. Think of the predator in the wild. The lion does not run around the savannah aimlessly, burning energy, roaring at the sky. The lion lies in the grass. It waits. It watches. It is perfectly still. It may wait for days. Is the lion lazy? Is the lion failing? No. The lion is at its most dangerous when it is still. When you are bored, you are not failing. You are the lion in the grass. You must learn to love the boredom. You must learn to view the lack of action as a sign of your professionalism. If you are excited, you are likely doing something wrong. If your heart is pounding, you are risking too much. If you are having fun, you are paying for entertainment. You are not running a business. Real speculation is a cold, hard, and often lonely business. It requires you to detach your emotions from the ticker tape. The dopamine withdrawal phase is the final test. It is the barrier that protects the wealth of the few from the grasp of the many. Most people cannot survive it. They will self-destruct because they cannot handle the quiet. They will give back months of profits in a single week of madness because they needed to feel something. How do you defeat this enemy? You defeat it by recognizing it. When you feel that itch, that urge to trade when there is no trade, recognize it for what it is. It is not intuition. It is not an opportunity. It is a biological weakness. It is your brain crying out for stimulation. Do not fight it with willpower alone. Willpower is a finite resource. You must fight it with perspective. Look at your account balance. Look at your equity curve. If you have been following your rules, that curve is likely moving up slowly but surely. It is not a vertical line. It is a grind. That grind is reality. The get-rich-quick fantasy is the poison. You must accept that the messy middle of your career, that period where you are not blowing up accounts but not yet making millions, is supposed to feel empty. That emptiness is the space where your discipline lives. If you are feeling numb, if you are feeling like the passion is gone, do not despair. You have not lost your passion. You have simply moved past the infatuation phase. You are entering a mature relationship with the market. In the beginning, it was a romance. Now it is a marriage. And like any marriage, the excitement of the early days is replaced by the stability of commitment. Stability is profitable. Stability creates empires. But stability feels boring to the thrill seeker. You have a choice to make. You can be the thrill seeker, the man who tells great stories about the fortunes he almost made, the man who lives for the highs and the lows. Or you can be the operator, the man who sits in silence, the man who buys when it is time to buy and sells when it is time to sell and does nothing in between. The operator is not there to be entertained. He is there to extract capital. He treats the market as a mechanism, and he treats himself as a cog in that mechanism. The greatest enemy you will face is not the Federal Reserve. It is not the algorithm. It is not the market makers. The greatest enemy you will face is your own inability to do nothing. I have seen men with brilliant minds, men who could calculate ratios faster than any machine, lose everything because they lacked the patience to sit. And I have seen men of average intelligence make fortunes simply because they had the character to wait. Character, that is the word. Speculation is not a test of intelligence. It is a test of character. Can you sit and watch the tape for 6 hours and do nothing? Can you go a week without a trade because the conditions are not right? Can you walk away from the screen when the market is chopping sideways? Or do you feel the need to force a profit out of the noise? If you can conquer the boredom, you have conquered the game. When you stop looking for excitement in the charts, you will start finding money. When you stop trying to prove how smart you are, you will start proving how profitable you are. The market rewards patience. It penalizes impulse. This is the law. It has always been the law, and it will always be the law because human nature does not change. The pockets change, the suckers change, the stocks change, but the Wall Street never changes because human nature never changes. And human nature hates boredom. So, the next time you are sitting there staring at a flat market, feeling that withdrawal, feeling that urge to click the button just to see what happens, stop. Take a breath. Realize that this feeling is the feeling of winning. This is what winning feels like. It doesn't feel like a fireworks display. It feels like work. It feels like discipline. It feels like silence. Embrace the silence. That is where the fortune is made. You must strip yourself of the need for validation from every tick. You do not need the market to tell you that you are alive. You need the market to pay you. And it will only pay you when you respect its timing, not yours. Do not let your biology dictate your destiny. Do not let the desire for a dopamine hit rob you of the wealth you have worked so hard to build. Stay the course. Stick to the system. And when there is nothing to do nothing. It sounds simple, but it is the hardest thing you will ever learn. If you want to understand the true psychology of speculation, you must read the one book that defines the game. I am talking about Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It is not historical. It is a permanent education in human nature and market cycles. The book is pure truth. Get your copy today. The link is in the description below.